All right, I'm going to unmute myself. Welcome, Paul's here. I can allow you to talk as well. So if you have any questions, just feel free to toss them out.
Hey, Brian, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, long-time listener, first-time caller.
Excellent.
I work with unsupervised up in Boulder, Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
I assume you're down in Denver?
Yeah, we're in downtown Denver.
Okay, great. So I just ran into a couple of things, and we'll probably pick up some support with you at some point. So the first question I have is around the JRE patching. So Oracle just released last week a massive 364 patches, 100 of which were critical, about 6 of which I think were for the SDK.
Thing. Yeah, it was huge. It was like the largest release they've ever done.
After officially saying they're stopping supporting 1.8 for a few other things, right? And I know Red Hat's picked that up, and there's a few other systems. I just wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah, it's a great question. So, so we are doing a fairly significant architecture review in January or maybe early February, and we're trying to make a final decision around that. And so we're likely going to either do one of two things, which would be like upgrade Java all the way till 14 or whichever one is just about to come out. And sort of keep pushing that and then really get on an update cadence. So we're constantly up to date with Java. Or what we would end up doing would be to sort of lock in with another platform language like Kotlin or one of those and start to follow their cadence. So I know Kotlin is going more towards their native, as well as a lot of people are moving towards Graal as well. So that decision to sort of, what direction we're heading should be coming shortly. And we're going to be upgrading pretty much everything once that's done. Although we've done some JRE upgrades over the last year and a half, 2 years-ish. Mm-hmm. So we probably just need to get on the latest patch of 8 anyway. I think we're only a couple of patches behind. Last time I looked.
We're actually a ways, but Oracle's changed the licensing.
December.
So it's a little more complicated.
Oh, that's right. We can't really ship it. Yeah.
They switched away from the Oracle binary license to more heavy-handed. You need to pay us type license.
Yeah. So we would probably start shifting towards OpenJDK, regardless of the direction we go.
Okay.
But anyway, that's in the works. So yes, we're absolutely going to do that. We're also going to be taking a long look at Nashorn, which is what's running our Lambdas. And determining how we're going to continue to move forward with JavaScript, as well as just providing better support for Lambdas. So that decision is also in the works, because Nashorn is basically deprecated, and so we'll be sort of following that guidance and ditching Nashorn during this process as well.
Fantastic, fantastic. Okay, that's really reassuring that you're on it and all of that stuff. Another question which I ran into and actually created a GitHub issue or bug about was, so one of the things we do is we deploy into Kubernetes clusters with no public assets, whether that's managed through Google IAP or VPNs and that sort of thing, which often means no cloud NAT or ability to pull down from the internet, except for maybe from GCR from a private storage space, or occasionally GitHub, but we try to avoid that. And what we noticed the other day was when either FusionAuth 1.7.2 or 1.13.2 spins up, it requires access to pull down the old Invernes JRE, I think. Mm-hmm. And Parby's like, okay, that's a fantastic almost pixel firing and tracker of how often that happens and downloads and spin ups and stuff. But it just caused a little bit of concern, actually going in and editing that, the startup shell script or the Catalina.sh to skip that check. And I was just wondering if there was any update on that.
Yeah, I don't know. Daniel knows about that bug. I'm actually gonna turn this around. He can speak to that. But
hi, Daniel.
Hey, how are you?
I share my video, but I don't know if it's an option.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I think we might have chatted on Slack about that issue as well.
Yeah.
I believe that's a bug. So our Docker image should already be packaged with the JRE.
Yeah. Dockerfile says that. Yeah.
Yeah. So short answer is that we haven't gotten to it, but I believe that's a bug and it shouldn't be downloading.
Okay. I thought you were a robot, Dan. Sorry.
Yeah, I go by either.
And so, okay, so that kind of covers it. So just one other thing, like, could you talk me through how I might tell people to purchase a support plan within the organization so we can kind of work through this stuff?
Sure. The question is how you would like refer someone to buy a support plan?
No, how I would convince my CEO or someone else to start giving you money in exchange for support and services.
Yeah. So that's sort of we've actually had a couple exercises here as of late with how we're kind of building out the value add and the feature list for what comes with our support contracts. And so that's something we're going to be updating some of our language on the website for.
Okay.
The short answer is particularly around security, because of the nature of security disclosures, we don't make those public immediately until the fix has been issued and available to our paying clients. So as it relates to security disclosures that we're aware of and we've resolved, the only way to get first access to those and knowledge to be up to date is through a paid support contract.
Okay.
That's fundamentally just because we can't make that public. And one of the gating factors that helps us understand who's a legitimate customer, not a malicious user, is through a paid contract.
And the cheapest contract is what, $200 a month or something, or?
What's our premium, 250 or 200?
Well, it's 125 now. And
125 is the cheapest.
Yeah, we just sent out
on pricing.
Yeah, we just sent out a newsletter email. I don't know if anybody over there got it, but we dropped for the next 12 months, we dropped our contracts or our amounts for the 2 support contracts from down to 125 and 250. So if you wanted to do enterprise support, you could do it, start off at 250. Now it does scale up based on your monthly active users. So depending on where you guys are at, it might go up like 1 notch or 2, but my guess is you'd be well underneath our threshold. So you can take a look and see, but yeah, we just sent out a coupon, and if you need the coupon code, I can send it out.
Yeah, my email address would be paulpaul@unsupervised.com.
And I'll just email it to you. I'll just forward you the newsletter.
All right, should I put my name and my email in the chat? There we are.
And one other thing I'll mention, Paul, is this is where I haven't announced really what we're doing yet, but we've got some enhanced security features or some premium security features that we're going to probably start making available only to paid support contracts. Along the lines of like breach detection and account takeover type features. So the goal in first and second quarter here is to really accentuate the value proposition for our support contracts.
Okay, great.
Cool.
Yeah, so I'm.
The other simple answer is for anybody else on the phone is if you like what we're doing and want to support it, help keep us around. That's paying us either through support or just we're actually thinking about opening up a supporter tier, which is like no support, but hey, we just like what you're doing and want you to stay around. So we don't have to use Auth0 or Okta or something like that.
Those ones are those are actually quite interesting, that people are just like, like I use this, it's not much, but it's like $3 a month or something. It's just a supporter tier, right?
Yeah, we're gonna do that, and it's gonna be sort of like pick your own price, right? So it's gonna like, if you want to give $5, that's great. If you want to give 15,000, that'd be phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we've got clients already that have voiced that desire, which is like, hey, it works great. We don't really actually need support. We're pretty technically confident. The product works great, but we do like what you're doing, want to support you.
We do need to be here.
Just infer like $100 or $200 a month just to support us. So yeah.
All right. I think that's good. So understanding that you're considering re-architecting certain things towards Kotlin and Graal, getting rid of Nashorn and migrating to OpenJDK because it's a problem for everyone using Oracle licenses these days.
Yep.
The bug that you've observed is okay. It's valid. And we can start getting security disclosures from you for a 125 a month. And there's going to be a few more security-minded enhancements coming down the pipeline, probably the end of this quarter.
Yep, you nailed it.
All right, and then would that be like a licensing thing we'd have to inject into the containers, or would it be a special container link, or?
Yes, so there'll be like an ID, just like a UUID or maybe license ID, and then you'll just have to put that either directly in the database or either like maybe an environment variable or a command line property. And then once we pick it up, then we can start activating those features.
So we either jam it in the Docker file, or it would be something in the UI that we drop in along like an API key or settings.
Yep, exactly.
Fantastic. Yeah, we're still in this kind of semi-manual startup state for a lot of this. Okay.
And I'll mention one more thing for you, Paul, because I chatted with last time I chatted with Steve Neely. It sounds like I was just asking him what would you like that you don't have yet in FusionAuth, and it sounds like you guys have sort of built your own custom deployment framework so that you can bootstrap FusionAuth for developers and/or production.
Yeah, we bootstrap a few different things. Think of our deployments like terrariums. They're hermetically sealed from a lot of any updates or meddling. So
okay.
Yeah.
So one feature that's coming here, hopefully next day or two, is something we're going to call Kickstart, which is just a JSON file that you can point at startup to basically do anything you want. Anything you can do in an API, you'll be able to do through Kickstart. Which basically means bootstrap the admin users, groups, tenants, settings, API keys, everything just how you want it, and then you can
useful because it's
templatize that
right now.
Yep.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And so to that end, this support ID or whatever this unique key is that will open these features up will probably be available through that as well. So you can sort of deploy a whole, just basically a template per customer or per development environment.
So we drop that UID in that JSON file, which we can make available as a config map or a secret within Kubernetes and pull it in that way.
Yep.
Okay.
And this Kickstart file will support environment variables, etc. So it should behave fairly nicely within your Kubernetes environment.
Okay, I've got a few more questions actually. The Elasticsearch, is it 6.5?
6.3 right
6.3.1 is what we're shipping.
Any likelihood of bumping up to 7-ish, or is the migration stage a pain for existing deployment?
Yeah, we do have an open feature for that, and that's getting quite a few upvotes. So it's on the roadmap. What sucks for us is actually even within the 6. major release, Elastic breaks things. So even on later versions of 6.x, we found that they're incompatible. So it's kind of tricky, but yeah, the plan is to upgrade to at least version 7. The downside is just that requires an index rebuild for that migration, which for most customers isn't a problem. Once you get into the multi-million users, it becomes a 30+ minute
downtime
process. It's not downtime, but it's a extreme system load while we rebuild that.
Okay. Yeah, no, we've done a few migrations of our own, and they're tough.
Yeah, that's probably on the short list because 6.3 is on the very low end of the options when you deploy to AWS and some other cloud managed Elastic clusters. So 6.3 is probably going to be unavailable for too long.
That's the constant rolling cadence of obsolescence is a pain.
Yeah, it's tricky, but yeah, that's on the list for probably first or second quarter at most.
Okay, great. I think that's it. Okay. I'll take this back and I'll look for the email, and thank you so much for your time and all your hard work. It'd be nice maybe just to meet up for a beer or a bite sometime if I'm ever in Denver.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,